In Lab 5, we'll be working with an introduction to map design. Not only will you learn how to change the symbology of data in the data view of the ArcGIS, but you'll also learn how to organize a map in the layout view. To begin, take a look at the Alabama Cancer Rates in Agriculture JPG in your Lab 5 folder. The purpose of this lab is to make a map that looks exactly like this, which displays the cancer rates in agriculture in Alabama and the relationship between agriculture and cancer-related deaths. Be sure to include 2 different shapefiles for Alabama, complete with counties. The map on your right should have the interstates going through Alabama, as well as the 5 biggest cities. And on the left, you'll have your concentration of cancer deaths per population, as well as... You can begin the lab by opening up your alabama.mxd ArcMap document. Note that there are 2 different data frames, Alabama Reference and Cancer and Farms. Each one of these data frames will represent a different map in our final map product when we are in the layout view. Each data frame also has 3 different feature classes. In Alabama, we have cities, interstates, and counties. In Cancer and Farms, we have farms, cancer, and rural. You can begin by activating your Alabama reference. Do so by right-clicking Alabama reference and going down to activate. When you begin to work on your Cancer and Farms in a little bit, you'll want to activate that data layer so it shows up in your data view. For the first part of the lab, we'll want to isolate the 5 major cities in Alabama. Note that all the cities in Alabama are listed on your Alabama map. To isolate the top 5, right-click on cities and go to the properties. In the Symbology tab, click on Categories. Here we're going to add values that are just the top 5 cities in Alabama. They are Birmingham, Huntsville, Mobile, Montgomery, and Tuscaloosa. To do so, in the Value field, change Object ID to Name. Once you've accomplished that, you can add values. Here, click on Complete List to show all of the different cities that are available in this feature class. Begin by scrolling down to Birmingham, highlighting it, add it to the list, and click OK. One by one, we'll add the top 5 cities in Alabama. Next, we'll add Huntsville. Then we'll add Mobile and then Montgomery. Or Montgomery and then Mobile. The last city to add will be Tuscaloosa. Again, add values, scroll down to the T's, and select Tuscaloosa. Click OK. Now you'll see that we have our top 5 cities in Alabama highlighted. Uncheck the All Other Values box. This will make it so that the only cities that show up in your final map product are the 5 largest cities in Alabama. Click Apply. Look to be sure that it worked, and click OK. As we're only providing the top 5 largest cities in Alabama as a point of reference, we'll want to be sure that the symbology is all the same. To change the symbology, we'll want to once again go to the properties for this feature class. Under the symbol heading, right-click, left-click, and go to Properties for all symbols. This will allow you to change all the symbols to be the same. For your symbols, you want to choose Circle 3, change the size to 8, and the color to Seville Orange. Size to 8, click on the color, hover over the color that looks like it could be Seville Orange, click it, click OK, and apply. Again, take a look and be sure that those city colors have changed. Once they have, we're ready to move on to the next step. Click OK. Our next step in this data frame will be to change the symbology for the interstates. Again, go to the Symbology tab for interstates, click on the symbol. You want to be sure that you're looking at the Features Single Symbol class. You double click on the symbol, you can look at the current symbol that you're looking at. We'll want to change the width to 1 and the color to autumnite yellow. It's in the yellow hue. It's in the yellow hue color column. Once you've changed the colors to autumnite yellow and the width to 1, click OK. Again, apply to be sure that your changes worked. Once they have, next we'll want to add labels for each interstate. To do so, click the Labels tab under your layer properties. Under Method, change it from Label all the features the same way to Define classes of features and label in each class differently. And our final map will only want to show the interstate highways that go through our top 5 cities. Here we'll have to have an SQL query, or a structured query language query, to only select the highways that we want to pass to be on our final map. Under the Labels tab, click SQL query, and we'll type in an equation exactly as follows. In quotations, name in. Here we'll have a chance to add our different interstates. If you'd like a complete list of the interstates on your map, you can click the name and get unique values. This will show you all of the highways that are in your class, feature class. We'll want to select 10, 20, 59, 65, and 85. Here you can either type in 10 with single quotations, or you can double click 10 and add a comma in between each field that you would like to add. 10, 20, 59, 65, and 85. To complete your query, close the parentheses. Now click Verify to be sure that your query worked. Once your expression was successfully verified, you can click OK. Be sure that your label features in this class is checked. Now we'll want to add the appropriate symbol, cultural symbol for interstate highways. To do so, go to the text symbol box and click on Symbol. Change the color from black. Change the symbol. If you scroll down, you can change the symbol to the cultural symbol for interstate highways in the United States. Be sure to set the symbol size to 8, size to 7. Click OK and apply the changes. Take a look at your map. You may notice that even though you have changed the symbol to the appropriate symbol for interstates, these labels don't show up. That's okay. Click out of your Properties tab, right-click on Interstates, and click Label Features. Now all of your interstate highways should be labeled appropriately with the appropriate symbol and the appropriate size. However, note that your interstate highway symbols do not all line up the same way. We'll want to change this. In order to change the placement of each labels, go back to our layer properties. Again, under the Labels tab and Other Options, click Placement Properties. Here we have a variety of options. Under our orientation, we'll want to change it to horizontal, and where it says duplicate labels, we're going to only place one label per feature. Going to click OK and apply. Now take a look at your map. All the labels should be one label per interstate, and they should all be aligned horizontally. Click out of your layer properties. The next step, we're going to change our counties feature class to shades of gray. Go back to the layer properties, click on the Symbology tab, be sure that it's set to Features Single Symbol, and double click the symbol. Here we'll change the fill color to gray 70%, the outline width to 0.4, and the outline color to gray 50%. Click OK. This should complete the Alabama reference frame. Next, we'll work on our Cancer and Farm. Next, you'll want to activate your Cancer and Farms data frame. Do so by right-clicking the data frame and clicking Activate. Be sure that your order is in Farms on top, Cancer beneath Farms, and Rural beneath Cancer. Right now, we're just going to want to work with the Cancer death rates. Uncheck the Farms and the Rural so that we're just looking at Cancer. Next, we're going to want to make a choropleth map that shows the rate of death per county. In order to do so, we'll need to normalize cancer deaths by the total population for each county. right-click on Cancer and go to your Properties. Under Symbology, Show Quantities, and click on Graduated Colors. We'll want to change our field to Cancer Deaths and our normalization to the total population in 05. Automatically, you should have the classification as Natural Breaks, Jenks, with 5 classes. If it's not, you'll want to change the classification by clicking Classify. Next, you want to change the color to the appropriate color scheme. You want to choose the color ramp that's light to darkish green. If you have a hard time recognizing the colors, you can also right-click the color ramp and unclick Graphic View. Here, you'll see the color ramp we want to use is yellow, green, light to dark. Click Apply, and then OK. You should have a corplet that resembles it. Next, we'll want to work with our farms data. Here, we're going to show the farms in Alabama. Make your farms layer visible. Again, go to Properties, and in the Symbology tab, we're going to work with Quantities. We're going to make a dot density map where one dot represents 20 farms. Click on dot density. Our field selection in this case is farms. That's the data we'll be working with. Highlight farms and add it to your symbol. You can change the symbol to electron gold, size 4, using the Esri symbol circle 1. Next, we'll change our dot value to 20 so that one dot equals 20 farms. Again, be sure that your symbol is on circle 1, electron gold, size 2. Again, where our density is calculated, we'll want one dot to equal 20 farms. Make sure your background color is set to no color. Click Apply. Take a look and see what your map looks like. You should have a variety of a bunch of dots where one dot represents 20 farms. This should look similar to the map that we have on the JPEG. Once you've changed the dot density, made the farms for one dot equals 20 farms, click out of your Properties. Next, we're going to work in our Layout view. Click your Layout view using one of the 2 options that we know of. Under the File tab, you'll want to change your map to a horizontal view or landscape view. Go to Page and Print Setup to do so. Change your orientation to landscape, and be sure that you are using a sheet that is 8.5 by 11 inches wide, also a letter. This should change the size of your page that you're working with to a horizontally aligned page that's that's the same size as a standard. Be sure, next we're going to add some guides so that we can snap each of our data frames to our guides to be sure that they're aligned. First, make sure that your rulers are set to inches, not centimeters. To do so, right-click your ruler and go to Options. Under the Layout View tab, click Show Rulers and be sure that's set to units of inches, with your smallest division being 1/10 of an inch. Apply and click OK. Next, we're going to add rulers that we can snap all of our data to. We're going to set our vertical guides at 0.2. You can left-click to add a guide. 5.5 and 10.8. You can also drag a ruler once it's set to the appropriate graticle. If you need to remove a guide, you can right-click the arrow and click Clear Guide. Next, we'll want to set our horizontal guides to 0.5 and 0.72 inches. 0.5 and 7.2 inches. Now you want to arrange your data frames so that they're between these guides. The dot density map will be on the left, and your counties map and interstates map will be on the right. Change the sizes of your data frames so they fit between the guides. Depending on the size of your data frame, you may have to scroll around your page. Now do the same thing This should make each data frame the same size, with the same alignment. Okay. In order to make both of our data, now that our data frames are the same size, we want our Alabama states to be the same size. Here we're going to set the scale for both data frames to 1 in 3.5 million. To do so, on the scale menu, you can select one of the various options provided, or you can type in 1 to 3.5 million. Be sure that you add the appropriate amount of zeros while changing the size of the scale of your map. Do that to both data frames. If after typing in the appropriate scale, your state does not align properly within the data frame, you can always right-click that data frame, click on Full Extent, and then retype in the appropriate scale. Next, we'll want to change the background color for both of our data frames to gray 40% with no border. To do so, right-click your data frame and go to your properties. Under Frame, change the border to none, and the background to gray 40%. Repeat the step for your other data frame. The next step of the lab will be to add the labels for each of our cities. To do so, in the Alabama reference frame, we'll want to right-click on cities and go to Properties and the Labels tab. Under the Labels tab, we'll define classes of feature labels, each in a different class. Again, we'll create an SQL query where our name is in our different cities. You can select Get Unique Values to show all of your different cities. Here we'll add all the different cities that we'll be working with. Alternately, you can type them in single quotation marks. Separate each city by a comma. Be sure to close your SQL query with appropriate parentheses. Click Verify, and once your expression is successfully verified, click OK and apply. Click out of your layer properties, right-click on cities, and click the Label Features button. All of your labels should be now appear on the map. However, they might not align appropriately. Next, we'll want to change the alignment. Before we convert our labels to an annotation to change the layout of our labels, let's go back to our labels properties and change the font and the spacing. Under the text symbol, click Symbol, change your fonts to Georgia, somewhere. Your text size to 10, and your color white and character spacing to 10. To change the text spacing, we'll want to click on Edit Symbol, change our color to white, and our spacing will be under Formatted Text, character spacing to 10. Click OK and apply. Note the changes in your labels. Next, we'll want to convert our labels to annotation or interactive label format. Right-click on cities and convert labels to annotations. Or to do so, click on Convert Labels to Annotation. Store your annotation in the map and click Convert. Once you've converted your labels to annotation, you're able to move each label around individually. Arrange your labels as they appear on the map so that they're not on top of any other data. Use your JPEG as an example. Your map is almost complete. At this point, you'll want to insert the appropriate map elements: title, legend, north arrow, a subtitle, a scale bar. Let's begin by inserting a legend. On the insert, be sure that your Cancer and Farms data frame is selected. Click Insert at the top and click Legend. Here, the Legend Wizard will run you through your legend. Deselect Farms and add it again so that it shows up below Cancer. This way, in your final legend, the Cancer death rates will show above the farms. Click Next. Change your title to Cancer Deaths over Population. Click through the Legend Wizard and explore the different options that it gives you. Once you finish, you should have your legend. Center it on your map. Change the size so that it's appropriate and matches the example map and looks aesthetically pleasing. If you need to alter your legend, you can click on your legend and change the properties. In your legend properties, you can change all of your legend symbology. For our Cancer Deaths over Population, which is our title, we'll want to change the symbol under Edit Symbol and be sure that it's center aligned. To do so, click the formatted text, or click your horizontal alignment to center. Click OK and apply and see how it works. In your legend properties, you want to be sure that your Cancer Deaths per Population is formatted appropriately. Change the size again, if you have not already done so, and the fonts to the appropriate fonts listed in the lab. In order to remove the layer titles from your legend, you want to go in your legend properties, go to Items. Under the symbol style, under Style, you want to go to More, or to Properties. Here, it allows you to change different items on your legend. Be sure that under General, the Show Layer Name is unchecked. There's a variety of different ways to change your legend properties once it's already been added to your map. You can do so, access the legend properties by right-clicking the legend and go into Properties. Under your legend properties, there's a variety of different operations that you can do. You can change the title and the symbology of the title. You can change the different layers that are represented in the legend, as well as their order. Under the Items tab, you can also change the different layers and their titles. For example, if I'd like to remove the Cancer label from the legend, I can go to Cancer, Style, Properties, and under Appearance, change it so it does not show the layer name. Do the same thing with my Farms layer in the legend. Alright, once this has been done, click Apply. Take a look what your map looks like. Notice that your legend almost looks like it does in the JPG. The only thing that we have to remove now is the Cadets over the total pop 05. To do so, go back to your legend properties, go to the Items tab, Style for Cancer, and Properties. Here you'll also want to remove the Show heading. Now your legend looks exactly like it does in the Alabama JPEG that we used in the original map, with the exception of one thing. Notice the dots are now not set to 1 dot equals 20 farms. We want to change this. To do so, go to the Farm Properties, and in the Symbology tab, change dot value to 20. Now our legend, when you're changing your dot density, be sure that you click Apply before you click OK. Taking a look at the final map that we'll be wanting to turn in, we'll notice that our title has a green background. In order to change this background to have a green background, we'll need to add a rectangle. Doing so is easy in Arc. In your layout view, be sure that your drawing toolbar has been activated under the Customize tab, Toolbars. Here you can click the rectangle option and draw a rectangle at the top of your map. Be sure it matches up with your neat lines. Change the color to olivine green. Or olivine yellow. And the outline color to no color. Now you're ready to add it. To add your map title, go to, in the layout view, go to Insert, Add Title. You can also add a title by inserting a text box. You have to be careful when inserting a text box because sometimes it gets misplaced on your map. Note where the text box automatically appears, in the upper left-hand corner of our Alabama reference data frame. It's highlighted in turquoise right now. To change the text, you can double-click it and enter the text, or you can go to the text properties and now change your name. Now the name of our map should be Cancer Rates in Agriculture in Alabama. As noted in the lab handout, you'll want to change your font under Change Symbol to Georgia, size 30. Be sure that's in bold. Click OK and apply. Now you want to move your title to the top and insert a subtitle. Now the subtitle here is the relationship between agriculture and cancer-related deaths. Again, you can do so by either inserting a text box there or in the drawing toolbar, creating a text box. Again, your text box may appear in a weird spot, so be sure you notice where it goes. You can double-click to change the text, or you can go to the text properties. Relationship between agriculture and cancer-related deaths. As per the lab handout, we'll want to change our subtitle to Georgia, size 20, black, and in italics. Again, under the text properties, go to Change Symbol. Change your text to Georgia, size 20, and turn it into italics. Pay attention to the JPEG and try to line up the text boxes accordingly. If you're having a hard time lining up your text appropriately, an easy way to move the text boxes slowly with more control is to highlight the text box, hold down the Shift key, and use your arrows. Move it left, right, up, or down according to where you want the actual text box to be. If you'd like to move the text box a little faster, but still with control, hold down the Control key, and it'll snap your title to wherever you need it. We'll want to go ahead and insert a scale bar and a north arrow. Our north arrow is specified in the lab using the Esri North Arrow 59. You can get a little creative if you want to on this. Choose a north arrow that's not too gaudy. I'm a big fan of the Esri North 59 or the North 60. Look on your JPEG and look at where the north arrow is located in the bottom right hand corner. Next, we'll want to add a scale bar. To do so, go back to the insert selection and click on scale bar. Here you have a few different options. You can choose which kind of scale bar you'd like, and you can change the properties, the size, how many different hash marks it has, number of divisions, the subdivisions, the gaps, and your label. Is it in decimal degrees or miles? Let's take a look at the lab document. Our scale bar should be 1. Our divisions should be in miles with 50-mile division value and 1 division before 0. Scale bar 1. Under the property, for our scale bar, we want to choose the alternating scale bar 1. Go ahead and highlight that and go to properties. Here you can adjust all sorts of different things in your scale bar. For the purposes of this map, under the scale section, we'll want to be sure the show one division before 0 box is checked. When resizing, we'll want to adjust the number of divisions. Be sure our division value is at 50 miles. Our division units are in miles, and our label position is after labels. You'll want to change your Symbology here to Perpetua font, size 10, and change your color to gray 80%. Click OK and apply, and now you should be ready to have a scale bar on your map. Adjust the position of both your scale bar as well as your north arrow to the appropriate places. You can resize the scale bar as well as the north arrow by just adjusting the size of the box. Again, if you're having a hard time placing the north arrow on the map, you can hold the shift key and use the arrow buttons on your 10 key. You'll want to adjust all of these properties as necessary. When I'm making a scale bar, I typically like to have my units to be in something fairly manageable, like scale increments of 25, 10, 50, 100, depends on the scale of your map. Now remember that your scale bar is going to be for whichever data frame you had selected. When inserting your scale bar, you want to use some common sense. If for some reason your scale bar doesn't look like it's the appropriate sizing, you may want to go back and check and be sure that you've done everything correctly. Right now my scale bar looks like it might be a little big, so I'm just going to double check. I'm going to go ahead and delete that and insert another scale bar. But first I'm going to be sure that I have the proper data frame window selected. Again, we're using the alternating scale bar 1. I'm going to show one division before 0. I'm going to adjust number of divisions when resizing. Our division value will be 50 miles. Our font will be Perpetua, gray 80%, and in italics. We want to label our position after the labels. I'm going to click OK and see how it works. Scale bar is not quite the same as it is in the map. Notice this one goes to 100 miles. So I'm going to change the size of my scale bar so that it matches the map more appropriately. Very nice. At this point, we're almost done with our map. A few more things we'll need to do is add a text box to include your name, as well as the information provided on the map, the data sources, and what the data might indicate. You can add these text boxes just like we did for the title. Move them around just as we did with the title. The last thing this lab will show you how to do is insert an image into your map. Note how the upper right hand corner of the Alabama cancer rate map has a picture of cotton. We'll go ahead and insert this picture of cotton onto our map. To do so, go to ArcMap, and again in the layout view, click the Insert tab, Insert Picture. Go ahead and look where you have this picture, you have this file saved. Geography, Week 5, Lab Data, and you're looking for the cotton JPG. Go ahead and open that. When it pops up, it might be a little big, so you're going to resize that. If you resize it from the corner, the proportions will stay the same. Move it into the top right hand corner of your map. Again, you may need to use the shift key to move your map around, or to move it around. Alright. Be sure to add your name, export the map as a JPG, and include it with your lab. Remember, to export it as a JPEG, you'll want to go to File, Export Map. It should give you options underneath file name to save as type. In this case, I'm going to save as a JPEG, as my last name, and then the lab number. Excellent. You've completed Lab 5. Congratulations.